morning on Maple Street moved with its usual restraint. Nothing announced itself. Nothing hurried. The diner windows caught the light first. Pale reflections shifted across glass and chrome. A delivery truck rumbled past and disappeared. Somewhere nearby, a door opened, then closed again. By the time afternoon arrived, the town had already made a dozen small decisions. Who would stop for coffee? Who would linger? Who would carry something back where it belonged? Some things, once set right, did not ask to be noticed. Oscar stepped into the bank just after lunch. The bell over the door rang sharp and bright. A voice boomed across the room before he had gone more than a few steps. Oscar, the man behind the counter, was already standing, one hand lifted high in greeting. His hearing aid was visible. It did little to soften the volume of his voice. "Hello, boy." Oscar smiled. He raised his hand in return. He crossed the floor at his usual steady pace. He reached into his messenger bag. He took out the pen. He held it up where the man could see it clearly. The man's grin widened. "Well, I'll be," he said. "That's mine." "Yes," Oscar said. He placed the pen on the counter. He slid it forward until it rested within easy reach. The man picked it up with care. He turned it once in his fingers. He nodded, satisfied. He tucked it neatly into his shirt pocket. He patted it once, just to be sure. "Thank you, Oscar," he said, just as loudly. Oscar nodded. That was enough. He turned and left. The bell rang again behind him. The exchange was complete. It was set right. From there, Oscar walked to the library. The bell over the door chimed softly when he entered. The familiar hush settled around him at once. He moved through the stacks with quiet purpose. His fingers brushed along spines. He found what he was looking for. Another art book. At the desk, he set it down carefully. Then he reached into his bag. He took out the flower, a yellow carnation. He placed it on the counter. "For you," he said. The librarian looked up, surprised. Then she smiled. She picked it up gently. She turned it once between her fingers. "That's very kind of you," she said, as she leaned forward to check out the book. Oscar looked at her glasses. Briefly, attentively, light caught the lenses, but there was no glow. Nothing shimmered. Nothing stirred. Oscar noted it without disappointment. He accepted the receipt. He tucked the book under his arm. He stepped back outside. Later that afternoon, Jack drove Sarah and Jenny to Katie's. The visit unfolded easily. Warm, familiar, steady. Katie moved carefully. Her hand rested on her stomach with thought, as though she were listening inward as much as outward. Nell sat near the window. The light fell across her face, the way it always seemed to. Jenny drifted toward her. She stood close, then closer. Their voices lowered. "I want to stay," Jenny said. Nell's hand covered hers. Firm, warm. "I want Jack to be my dad." Nell did not react with surprise. She did not look across the room. She stayed with Jenny, exactly where she was. "You already know what you want," Nell said. Jenny nodded. "Then that's all right," Nell said. "Sometimes it already is." Jenny leaned against her. Just for a moment, she let herself rest. When it was time to leave, Jenny did not hesitate. She took Jack's hand first, then Sarah's. Her fingers fit between theirs, without effort, as if they had always belonged there. Neither adult spoke. They did not need to. Oscar arrived at the nursing home in the early evening. The halls were quiet. The day was settling into routine. He greeted the nurse by name. He went to his mother's room. He set his bag down carefully. Margaret sat waiting. Her chair was angled slightly toward the window. She could not stand. She could not rise to greet him, but her eyes were alert, steady, unmistakably present. Oscar washed his hands. He prepared the tray the way he did every evening. He fed her slowly. He watched her cues. He adjusted his pace to hers. It was a practiced intimacy, built from repetition, built from trust. When the meal was finished, Oscar reached to clear the tray. That was when the light shifted. The jewelry box sat on the side table. At first, it looked ordinary. Then a faint glow traced its edge. Soft, unmistakable, alive. Oscar stilled. He looked at the box fully now. The glow lingered. Waiting, Oscar lifted his gaze. Margaret was already watching him. Her eyes moved from his face to the box. She saw it too. There was no confusion in her expression, no fear, only understanding. She gave a small nod. "Yes." Oscar retrieved a clean hand towel. He laid it across his knees. He wrapped the box carefully. He folded the fabric with deliberate precision. He protected every corner. When he placed it into his messenger bag, the glow dimmed, but it did not disappear. It settled. Margaret watched him close the bag. Their eyes met once more. Nothing needed to be said. They walked past the diner. They continued on. They moved beyond the row of cottages. The gravel path curved gently behind them. The small porches fell quiet as evening settled in. The cottages stood close together here. Warm lights glowed in windows. The sounds of everyday life were muted, familiar. Behind them, the space opened. Jack stopped. He reached out. He flipped a switch. Soft light bloomed overhead. String lights came on one by one. Warmed, golden, they stretched through the trees like a quiet constellation. The garden revealed itself slowly, deliberately, hidden from the road, tucked behind the cottages, held in privacy. Sarah drew in a breath. She had not realized she was holding it. The garden was larger than she expected. A brick patio spread out beneath their feet. The surface was worn smooth by time and care. Flower beds ringed the space. Full, alive, colors ran deep. Reds, softest, lingering purples. None of it had surrendered to the season yet. Trees framed the edges. Their leaves caught the light. They glowed softly. At the center stood a long wooden table. Matching chairs surrounded it, big enough for 10 people. Nearby, a smoker and a stone grill stood solid and permanent, built to last. But Sarah's attention moved to the corner, a fountain tiled in careful mosaic. Its surface caught the light in pieces. Blues, greens, pale golds. Water gurgled gently. It spilled over the edge. She stepped closer. At the base of the fountain, a small placard was set into the stone. For Caroline and Michael, I'll love you forever. Jack stood beside her, quiet. This was the first thing, he said. I put it in for Caroline. And Michael, he paused. I needed something that stayed. Sarah turned slightly toward him. He was still looking at the fountain. After that, I added a small garden, he said, just enough to keep my hands busy. I didn't plan much beyond that. He gestured. The beds, the table, the trees. The more time passed, the more space I needed, he said. So I added to it, bit by bit. He took a breath. The more I added, the more I could breathe. He finally looked at her. I think I was practicing, he said. Sarah's throat tightened. Practicing what? She asked. Opening up again, Jack said. Making room. The fountain murmured behind them. Caroline loved flowers, he said. She liked knowing what grew where, what needed shade, what came back on its own. A faint smile touched his mouth. She used to say you could tell how someone paid attention by how they planted things. Sarah stayed very still. I didn't want this to end, Jack said quietly, without you seeing it while it lasts. His hand moved then, not hurried, not uncertain, just reaching. Sarah felt the question in the space between them. She answered it without thinking. Her fingers slipped into his. Warmed, sure. Jack exhaled. The lights hummed softly overhead. The fountain kept singing its quiet song. The garden held them, alive, tended, chosen. I'm glad you showed me, Sarah said. Jack nodded. Her hand stayed in his. He was quiet for a moment longer. He looked up toward the trees. The lights disappeared into the branches. Then he glanced back at her. Do you think, he said carefully, I should put in a tire swing? Sarah's breath caught, just slightly. She squeezed his hand. That was enough. That night, Oscar set his messenger bag carefully beside his chair. Inside, wrapped and waiting, the music box rested, ready to be mended. Across town, hands had been taken. Across town, something private had been shared. Across town, what mattered had been chosen, before time could take the choice away. On Maple Street, the lights stayed on, not because everything was finished, not because every story had found its ending, but because someone was still awake, someone was still listening, someone had chosen to remain. And sometimes that was enough.